Welcome to episode 3 of YOUx2, where we're on an adventure discovering the two of you that are living this human experience. Your human character that you're playing in this physical form, and then the actor behind the character, this powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being made of unconditional love. In episode 2, last week, we talked about where do we come from? Why do we even exist? And why on earth did we choose to have a human experience here on earth? Little quick summary. Where we come from the unconditional love essence of the Creator. We're actually made of the same essence of our Creator. And why we exist is the Creator had this curiosity to understand themselves more deeply. So from a different perspective, He created us so we could look back at them and that they could see themselves through us and understand more about themselves. And why we chose to come here in human form is because we're made of that same essence of the Creator. We have that same curiosity, and so in order to understand our spiritual side, we decided to become something that's our opposite, so we could also look back at ourselves and understand who we are more deeply. So if you want more details on that, then check out episode 2. Before we jump into episode 3, I always like just to make sure to communicate that all this information that I'm sharing in these videos came to me through when I questioned the Creator and Spirit about specific things in my life, and also things that came through in readings that I gave others. So I by no means expect you to absorb and accept everything that I say in these videos. If these videos turn you inward and have you search within your own heart for your own answers to life, then I feel like these videos did their job. So let's jump into episode 3 and find out how we can integrate like what we learned in episode 2 more into our human lives. We're a perfect mountain. We don't need to, have to, or should really become more. We just want to walk around that mountain of who we are, seeing it from a different perspective, in as many different perspectives as we can, in order to understand more about what it is and to see it more clearly than just from the top down. An example Spirit gave me to help me understand this is breathing air. I've breathed air for as long as I can remember, but I may have not understood air until I experienced non-air. When I'm 6 feet underwater, experiencing and looking up, going, that is air up there, I realize the difference because I'm experiencing non-air down here. So without any kind of scuba gear or any kind of other assistance, I don't have air to breathe down here under the water. So I, understand more about what air is. I have a new appreciation for what air is, and I am moving back towards that air because that is what I thrive on. That's what I need to live, right? What does that look like in our human experience? From birth, we're inundated and hit with opposites from all over the place. We've got hot, cold, fire, water, wet, dry, dark, light, night, day, here, there, up, down, big, small, rough, soft, solid, liquid, metal, wood. I mean, it's everywhere we look around in our physical world. And we get used to that, right? Our physical being starts just to accept, there's all these opposites, and it becomes our norm. But where our human side has the biggest adventure is in our feelings. And that's when we experience this contrast between heart and mind, emotion and thought. Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, she has an amazing book called Whole Brain Living. And she talks about the two sides of our human brain, both having emotion and feeling. And that's different from the previous, beliefs around that the left brain is the thinking, analytical, and the right side is all the emotional. But she goes on to talk about that the left is kind of more like the human side, with thoughts and feelings based on our human experience, and the right side being more connected to the spiritual higher self than we are. So this book brought me great confirmation about the two of us that are living within it. She actually has 4 characters. She considers like the emotional human side, the thinking human side, a spiritual emotional side, and a spiritual thinking side is kind of how I break it down and understood the book there. But I'm not affiliated with her at all. I just mentioned this book because it was such a life-changing read for me that I wanted to share it with you. So, we talk about that emotional human side, and it is so reactive to the emotions, of course, and it's what kicks us into that fight or flight mode in our bodies. And it's like a little child inside of us. And when it feels emotionally unsafe, that's when it sounds the alarm and it goes and activates the body, and you feel that prick in your heart that, and we experience these deep feelings of fear as our heart starts to pump out of our chest, and we, muscles all start to ache because of all the adrenaline that's flowing through it, and it kicks out like our spiritual side. It goes, nope, I'm not listening to anyone. Spiritual stuff is out, and even the thinking piece of the human side is knocked, out of the command center, because literally when we go into fight or flight, our blood leaves our brain to go to all those muscles and things in our life to make us feel safe. So we really are kind of acting out of our minds, because we really are not there, because our brain, human brain, doesn't want us to stand there and think while we get eaten by a monster, right? So it just keeps reacting and reacting in an emotional way, not responding, but reacting. So think about like someone who's drowning. They go into this panic mode, and so they're just arms are flailing all over the place, and they're just trying to survive. They're in that survival instinct mode. Someone swims out to try to save them, and because they're all this, like, someone might get smacked upside the head. Now that's not intentional, that's reactionary. That person might react too from being smacked in the face. But then that drowning person grabs onto that person that's trying to rescue him and drags them under the water too. And so all of that is like this emotional reaction that's happening. And once they swim back to shore and calm down, then they realize, okay, what's really going on here? Because the other 3 members have come back into the command center, right? And so they can more calmly understand what happened and why things happened. So that's what we all can do when we're going through our panic mode and all that stress in our life. We can just take a deep breath and calm down, and then start to see things more clearly. This physical plane kind of seems like a giant amusement park of fear. There are fear rides all over the place, and plenty of opportunities to feel fear. And it's why we came here to this planet. Our higher self does not feel fear because it's made of the same love energy as the creator of all things. It has nothing to fear. But like air and water, we came here to experience the opposites, so that in diving deep into the shadowy waters of fear, we more fully understand the powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being we really are. And these feelings of fear are not wrong. They just feel uncomfortable because we're not used to feeling them back home. By experiencing sadness, we more fully understand the happiness and the joy that is our regular state of being. by experiencing the chaos of this stormy world, we understand more of the peace that we have in being the eye of the storm. And of course, by experiencing the conditional, unstable, temporary love of the human outside world, we more fully understand the unconditional, stable, eternal love of the Creator of all things. Just knowing that we have a choice between emotions is one of the most powerful, capital T truths that we will ever learn on this physical plane. And the Creator provided me two of the cards. It's in the major arcana and tarot cards that help me grasp this concept. And the first one is the Wheel of Fortune. Before we come down here into our human form, our higher self decides what human avatar or character is going to represent it throughout this human adventure. And it decides when it's coming down into this game and when it's leaving. It also determines all the fated events it wants to experience in order to more fully understand itself. And you may think, as I did, that if it is all fated, then why come down here at all? But they, of course, showed me that even within the fated events or circumstances in our life, we still have our power of choice, our free will to choose what story we're going to apply to a situation and what emotion we're going to feel. So we can choose an emotion of extreme fear or an emotion of extreme unconditional love or something in between. And I know sometimes it does not feel like we're making a choice, and that's because the small t truths, those popular opinions of the outside world that were handed to us when we were younger and reinforced over and over until they became our habit and then our reaction. So all those supposed tos, those shoulds, those need tos, those have tos, those musts that we fear not living up to, they ignite. And this thing happens, and then we're told this is what that's supposed to mean. This other thing happens, and we were told this is how you need to feel about that. But if we slowed down time, we could see when we're making that decision, and then we can create a new habit to feel a different way and apply a different story to it. And this moves us from this feeling like we're on this out of control drama train that's about to leap off the tracks and dramatically explode in a gorge and, blow up. And it moves us from that feeling to one where we're on this beautiful, smooth moving train like a monorail at Disney World that's connected to the tracks, and it's moving smoothly, stopping at its destinations in perfect timing and in perfect order. And so this moves us out of this feeling like we're in this victim role, that life is happening to us, to this victor role where we're like, life is happening for us instead. And then the Tower card is the second card, and that takes us into like an additional part of that story. So the Tower represents something being removed out of our lives that no longer serves our adventure. Somewhere we're talking about those fated events on the Wheel of Fortune card. This is one of those fated things in our lives, and it can be relationships of any kind, whether that is romantic or family or friends or work or even with our fur babies or feather babies, any type of relationships. It can be situations like education or jobs, and things like our bodies, our possessions, or our bank account. So this fated thing that's been in our lives on purpose, for a purpose up to this point, but now, in order for us to experience the next fated event in our adventure, this other thing must be removed. And remember, it's removed for us. And what's awesome about this is that often you'll see two characters on the Tower card, one being blasted out of the tower by the lightning bolt and one leaping out of the tower. And this gives us another awareness around our power of choice, because if we step out of the chaotic noise of fear in the outer world and purposely raise our vibration to that of spirit, which is unconditional love and joy, peace, and laughter, then with us matching their vibration, we can hear spirit count down before the lightning strike. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Shazam! And we can actually choose to remove that thing out of our lives sooner within that countdown if we choose to. And don't judge yourself too harshly if you have things removed out of your life for you, because most of us really enjoy that shock treatment of that lightning bolt. And we want to experience all of these other experiences right up to that drop dead moment where it must be removed for us to move to the next fated event. And both of these cards really shined such a bright light into my life, because just grasping that power of choice, that I get to choose what emotion I feel in any situation. I get to choose what story I apply to any situation. It just brought a lot of peace around, whatever was happening around me in the world, because I get to choose all of that stuff. And then it also took away a lot of my fear of the future, because before, when I felt out of control, like my emotions were in my control or the story wasn't in my control, things were going to happen, and this is what it was going to mean, and this is how it's going to have to feel, and who knows what's around the next corner. But that transforms when I realize that it doesn't matter what comes around the corner next, because I'm the one that gets to choose what it means. I'm the one who gets to choose how I feel. And yes, everyone has their opinion on how something is supposed to feel and so supposed to mean, but it doesn't mean I have to take on that as my opinion. All right, well, in next episode, episode 4, we're going to be looking into where our small t truths come from and how we can start to awaken and become aware of the capital T truths in our life. If you want to help share the love and be notified when any of my new videos come out, you can give this video a like, then click the subscribe button, and then the notification bell. That will let you select the setting to be notified, and doing all of this helps the YouTube algorithm to share this channel and videos with others as well. Never any pressure, but if you choose to do so, I of course greatly appreciate it. Have an amazing week, and please know that as you go throughout each and every second of every day of your life, you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things, and of course, I love you too. Have an amazing week. I'll be talking to you very soon, and until then, you take care. And this moves us from this place that we feel like we're on this out of control drama. Well, blah, 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 blah.